Let's start with the very basic of Excel. Let's use a function called Randbetween. Now Randbetween will give me any whole number between a range. Because if I write 150 to 300, it will give me any whole number between a range. These are volatile functions of Excel, and this will keep on changing as I work on Excel. So some volatile functions of Excel are rand, which will give me decimal number less than 1. I can show you here rand, and see, rand does not require any argument. It just requires an opening bracket and a closing bracket, and it will give me any decimal number less than 1. Then there's Randbetween, which we did right now. It will give me a whole number between a range. Then I have today. Today will give me today's date. And you see, equal to today. If I write, it will give me today's date. And if I again write, there's a now function, it will be today's date and time. So if I write equals to now, it will give me today's date and time. Let's see, can you see for Randbetween and today, we did not have to give any argument. It's just an opening bracket, there's a closing bracket, right? And you get a number between 0 and 1. Okay, so these are some volatile functions of Excel. And what is the purpose of using rand and Randbetween? What is the purpose of using rand and Randbetween? The purpose of using rand and Randbetween is to create a sample data set. Okay, now how do we make sure that we retain these values in Excel? How do we make sure that we retain these values in Excel? We'll use something called paste special. Now when we copy paste in Excel, when you copy paste one cell, suppose I have written a cell, I've written this value and I fill it, I border it, I bold it. And now if I copy paste this cell to another cell, what gets copy pasted? Almost everything. Can you see? All the color, the border, the boldness, everything gets copy pasted. Even everything will get copy pasted. The formula, color, border, formatting, validation, everything. But suppose I only want the value. I do not want any other things. How do I get that? We use paste special. When we only want certain attributes of the cell, when we only want a certain properties of the cell to get copied and not all, so we'll use paste special. Suppose I want only the value and not the formula in this cell Randbetween. What do? I select, let me create a bigger data set. And suppose I want to retain these values. How do I retain these values? I select all the cells, I do copy, I go to the first cell and do a right click, paste special, and this dialog box open up. This dialog box, see, can you see all these buttons are called radio buttons in Excel. This is all formulas, values, formats, comments, validation, all using source theme, all except borders, column widths, formulas and number formats, values and number formats, and different types of operations are there. For this, we don't want the formula, we only want the values, since we want to retain these values. So we'll select on values and press OK. Now can you see there's no formula in this cell now? There are no formulas on this cell. Can you see here? There are no formulas. So now if I work on Excel also, these values remain constant, they won't change. So how do we do a paste special value in Excel? Steps for paste special value are, copy the cell on which you want to use paste special. Then right click and paste special, and then select values. This is how we'll do paste special value. What will this do? This will remove the formula from the cell, or will remove the dynamicity of the cells. Okay. Now I want you all to try create a column of random number and do a paste special value on it. Now let us suppose that these are marks obtained in different CT papers. Okay, these are marks obtained in different CT papers. Now I discover that one question of CT5 paper is wrong, and I want to add a value which is of 10 marks, and I want to add 10 to each. I want to add 10 to each marks. How do I do? There are two ways of doing it. One is you do 194 plus 10, and then you copy paste the entire formula down. But this is not a wrong way, but I will say this is an inefficient way. Why this is an inefficient way? Because we are creating an extra column over here, and we don't generally create an extra column in our data. It is not a good habit. So what we'll do, instead of doing this, I will write 10 in one of the cells. I will do Control C. I'll copy the cell. I'll select where I want to paste, and I'll do a paste special operations. See, I want to add, so I'll click on add, and okay, all the values get increased by 10. So this way we did not create an extra column also, and all the marks got increased by a number. So how do I do a paste special operation? Steps for paste special operation are: copy the cell, select the cells where you want to paste the value, right click and paste special, and click on the operation you want to perform. These are the steps for paste special operation. Is this clear? Now let's move on to another property of paste special. Everybody knows what is transpose. Transpose means changing a column into a row and row into a column. So suppose I want to convert this column into a row. How do I do? I select the column, I do a Control C, which is copying the cells, and suppose I want to paste it over here. So I'll click on the cell, I'll do a paste special, and I'll click on transpose. Okay, and all my numbers get changed into a row. The column is changed into a row. This is the way we do transpose in Excel. This was paste special transpose. Now another use of paste special. Another use of paste special is skip blanks. Now, suppose I have two lists. One list contains this is one list and another list these are the two lists I have, and suppose I want to paste this first list on the other but without the blanks. That means in place of this blank, this value 6 should remain intact, or in place of this blank, this 1 should be remain intact. I do not want to replace this blank values. So how do I do it? Select the cells, paste copy. I want to paste it on this list. So I'll do a paste special again. Right click, paste special, and do a skip blanks. And it will be, can you see? In place of this blank, the 6 remained intact, and in this place of this blank, 1 remained intact, and all the other values got copy pasted. This was skip blanks in Excel. Now suppose I have blanks at the same places. I have blanks at the same places in two lists. I have blanks at the same places in two lists, and I want to copy this list on the other. What will happen? This blank will remain intact. This blank will remain intact at its place. So I do copy and I do a paste special, skip blanks. What does it do? It will keep the blanks at its own place. That means whatever value is there in this blank will remain at this place. It will not change. So this list is not exactly getting copy pasted, but if there was blanks at the same place, the blanks will remain at the same place again. It will remain constant. Okay. Now what is a shortcut for paste special? Till now I was saying you right click and paste special, but if I want to do a shortcut, suppose again I want to add this value 10 to this list. So how do? I do a copy. Copy is done by a shortcut of Control C and then selecting this column. And for paste special we use Control Alt V. Control plus Alt plus V. Can you see? And can you see all these letters are underlined, all these words are underlined by a single letter. A single letter is underlined in all these words. So for value, for operation, can you see add, it is D. So if I press D, it will come to add. And if I press enter, the values will get added. So this is a shortcut for not using the keyboard. So you can note down shortcut for paste special is equals to CTRL Control plus Alt plus V. This will give me the paste special dialog box. After you copy the cell, it will open the paste special dialog box for me. This is how we do paste special in Excel. Next topic we do today is referencing. How do I do referencing? First tell me. I am adding, I suppose I want a total of these 3 marks and the total. Okay. Now I want a total of each of these cells. So I will do a copy paste, which is just double clicking on the small. Can you see this small box? I just double clicked on this and I get all the values get copy pasted. So first it is A4, B4 and C4. and then when you come down, you see it's A5, B5 and C5. So what is getting changed? My rows and row numbers are getting changed. This is A is the column and 5 is the row. So my row numbers are getting changed as I move down. But suppose I want to copy this horizontally. So I did a Control V. Now is this value correct? It means if I want a total in this column also, is this value correct? No, because what it has done, can you see now? It's adding 221, 214 and 711. But I wanted this plus CT1 plus CT3 plus CT5. It's not doing that. This is because Excel will only understand what I tell it to do. Excel will only understand what I tell it to do. Since in this cell, I told this cell to add 3 cells before it. So it added 3 cells before it. Now when I copy pasted this formula horizontally, it will again do what? It will copy 3 cells just before. It will just sum up the 3 cells before it. So it is summing the 3 cells before it. But I do not want this. So how do we change this? First let's understand how do we name the cells. A cell is named as, suppose, A4. So A is my column. Again 4 is the row, and A4 together will give me the cell. This is how a cell is formed. In vertical copy paste, see, when I did a vertical copy paste, what gets changed? My row gets changed. It was A4, A5 and A4, B4, C4. Now it's A5, B5, C5. Again it's A6, B6, C6. But when I copy paste horizontally, what gets changed? Here it was A4, B4, C4, and here it became B4, C4, D4. So my columns are getting changed. So when I copy paste horizontally, columns change, and when I copy paste vertically, my rows change. Okay. So, but this is wrong. So I need to fix my columns. We use referencing, or we use dollar signs to fix. Since I want to fix this columns, what will I do? I'll do a referencing. I'll use dollar signs to fix. How do we use dollar sign? We use function F4. Okay, and function F4, and we fix the columns before it. Okay, so where will I fix the columns? In this I will fix the columns. I'll fix the columns in this. And now if you see, I'll copy paste this here. Now the values don't get changed because now I have fixed that these 3 cells, these 3 columns will remain fixed. Now if I copy paste this down also, I will get the same results because now it is not shifting the cells. Now it will see. So there are 2 types of referencing in Excel. There are 2 types of referencing. One is absolute and one is relative. Now, relative referencing was this, which we are doing right now. Relative referencing is again of 2 types. One is mixed referencing and one is just with no referencing. Okay, how does mixed referencing works for us? How does mixed referencing works? When I am putting a dollar sign with A with the column, it fixes the column, and when I am putting $1, it fixes the row. So this is mixed referencing. When I am using when I'm using only one. Either I'm fixing the column or I'm fixing the row. This is called mixed referencing. And what is no referencing? No referencing was I'll just write A1. This means there is no referencing in it. This means this is the relative referencing, as I want the cell to do whatever I want. Whenever I'm changing, whenever I'm copy pasting, I wanted to copy paste the way it was working earlier. And what is absolute referencing? Now let's see. Suppose I want the total. I want the percentage. I want the percentage of these numbers, and so let's suppose the grand total is 1000. So how do I get the percentage? I'll go to this cell, divide it, and will I write 1000 here or will I select the cell? I will select the cell. We do not hard code anything in Excel, because in future if the grand total changes or if my value changes, I will just have to change the cell and I do not have to change the entire formula here. So I'll select this cell here and I press enter, and if I copy paste this formula down, what am I getting? I am getting a error. Why am I getting error? See, when it was in this cell, first cell, it is selecting this and this, but when I am copy pasting it down, see, it has come to this cell, which is correct, but now in the grand total it's selecting a 0. That is why it is giving us an error of div 0. It is dividing it by 0. Similarly, when it is coming to this cell, it is dividing 660 by CT3 and not by the grand total. So as we moved vertically downwards, this cell also moved vertically downwards, which is wrong. So how do we do it? We fix it. Now for fixing this cell, this has to be absolutely fixed. That means it should not be moved. So now if I fix it, I get the values. Now see, even if I click, you can see it's selecting 1000. This is called absolute referencing. So absolute referencing means $8, $1. And I have both row and column fixed. This is called absolute referencing in Excel. So how do we get referencing signs? How do we get dollar signs? We use function F4. If I use function F4 once, I will get absolute referencing, both row and column will be fixed. If I press it again, my only row will be fixed. If I press it again, only column will be fixed. And if I press it again, it is a relative referencing. Nothing will be fixed. This is how we get referencing in Excel. So how do we know when we have to use dollar signs in Excel? Whenever we are copy pasting anything, we'll always check for referencing. Whenever we do a copy paste in Excel, we'll check for referencing in Excel. In Excel, more important is not how you do it, it is more important when to use a function. So you should always remember, when do I have to use a dollar sign? Whenever I am doing a copy paste. So you have to think about dollar signs before you copy paste anything in Excel. That's all for today. Now let us create a two-way multiplication table in Excel. Let us create a two-way multiplication table in Excel. If I write I just want you all to insert only one formula to get the results of multiplication of each of the cell. So how do we do it? See, since when first let's see, if I do this and I do a copy paste here, will I get the correct answers? No. See, when it is multiplying here, it is selecting 615 to 23. Else I want What do I want? I want 10 into 23. Also I want, here also I want not 14950 into 98 but 10. So when I am moving horizontally, when I have copy pasted the formula horizontally, what it has done, it is moving the cell. So which row, which column do I want to fix? I want to fix the J column. So I will use dollar signs in front of G. And then see, if I do a control C, control V, so I get the first column correct, 23 into 10. Again, when I am copy pasting it vertically, see what it is doing, 30 into 650, but I want 30 into 65. So what should I do? Similarly here also, when I am doing 57 into 19500, but I want 57 into 65 or 57 into 23. So what should be fixed? This row is fixed. This row should not change. So I should fix the row in my formula. How do I fix a row? Just by pressing function F4 2 times. And now if I copy paste this formula in the entire table, I will get the correct answer. This is the way you do a two-way multiplication table in Excel. Okay, now let's do some exercises. Suppose I want to calculate the total marks. So how will I do it? I will select each cell, but should I leave it like this or shall I use any referencing? I should fix my columns so that in future if I have to copy paste it horizontally also, my total does not change. So I will fix the columns for each of them. And do a vertical copy paste. So this is one referencing exercise. Another, if I have to do this one, how do I do this? This is a question of converting UK sterlings into euros and UAE dirham, and these are the rates by which I have to convert. This is euro rate, means this is 1 sterling is equals to 1.13 euros. So how will I do this? I'll select this 500 into and this static rate. Now this rate has, and this rate change, or this rate has to be fixed. This rate is fixed for all the columns, for all the rows. So I fix this rate, and here since the numbers are only in this column, so I will fix this column B, and then I do a vertical copy paste. So can you see, before every copy paste I need to use a referencing sign. Similarly for UAE dirhams also we will do 500 into 19.2, which is this cell B80, and I will do F4, and I will do a vertical copy paste also in this cell. This will give me, and to remove this signs, just do a general, and it will remove the columns from, it will remove the signs from it. Is this clear to everybody? So that's all for today. This was the exercise.